okay, you want it here, here. And if you got a wife or a significant other, you better check with them first on the height. They can open up the door, stand back. Okay, you want it here, this close to the wall, or the corner, up here, down here. Where do you want it? Okay? And then once you figure it out, you can take a scratch awl. They say, okay, yeah, right there. Take your scratch awl and just poke a hole right in there. Then you would have a starter hole. You'd have a starter hole right there. Okay? 27. I'm going to measure this from center to center of the hole, 25 and 7/8. I get one mark there, and then I can get 25 and 7/8. And then I can hold my level from there over to that mark, up, down, whatever, and put a mark. Or measure on my level, 25 and 7/8, put a little pencil mark on this edge, so then I can hold it up there, line that up, put a mark right there. That's one way you could do it. Another way, you could just hold this up here like that, and you can take your level on the bottom of these hooks, and you can say, okay, up, down, over this way, okay, right about there. Then you got to hold your mouth just right so you don't move it, and then you can take this, poke it right in the middle, come over here, poke it right in the middle. That might be kind of difficult for you if you're all by yourself, right? But that's another way you can do it. Okay? Another way is to have somebody help you. They can hold it and then you can mark it and be done with it. You can take a felt tip pin. You don't even have to take a scratch off. You don't have a scratch off. You take a felt tip pin, poke it right into the middle of that, and over in the middle of that over there. Now you've got one little black dot here, one little black dot there. Okay? So you could do that with the level, but I believe I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it a different way. What if you don't have a level? If you go to the store and buy one of these levels, I don't know how much they are, $15, $12, $16, something like that. You can even get one longer than this. This one here, let's see how long it is. It's a fairly new one. That's 24 inches. Okay? You could probably buy one 4 feet long. I used to have one 6 feet tall. And it also had a magnet strip on the side of it. And when I used to frame metal studs in commercial buildings, I would use this, I would use a level like that. I actually have one the same length that's magnetic on one side. And I would use that for smaller things, or if I'm doing a header and I'm cutting out a little piece of track of metal, and I set this up at the top, screw in one side, hold this up there, level it, put my clamps on there, put a mark on there with the felt tip pin or whatever, screw it in, however. But most of the time you're not going to need, in residential, you're not going to need that metal strip on here. So you can get one like this. Okay? So that's one way you can do it. Now, what's the other way? Do you have any idea what the second way is? And this is how I usually do most of my stuff, especially if I got something more than the length of the level. I mean, even for the level, I could put, if I had the first mark or whatever, I could come over here, I could put a little mark, and then I could line this up over here and try to level it and put another little mark exactly where it goes. That gets kind of dicey. So that's why I would probably hold this whole thing up, and I would have to do it in such a way to where I can reach both holes, and I put the level on there, or I probably wouldn't set the level on top of there, because if all these aren't exactly the same, when I get all done, maybe it's not going to be right. Okay? But I want this line as straight as possible, which means this hole and this mounting hole over here should be pretty close to level. Plus, you saw there was a little bit of slop. So once I get it up there and make it determine where it is, and I get my mounting screws in there, before I snug it tight, then I could take a level. I could take a level at that point, hold it on there, and say, okay, this side needs to go up just to the top edge of this screw. This one needs to be the middle of the screw or down below a little bit, and I can tighten it up. You're never going to see that, okay? But what do you suppose is the second way to install this without a level? I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, first I have to measure from center of the hole to the center of the mounting hole. And if you can't reach it, I've just got a little lock on my tape, and I can hold that in the center. And look at the center over here, it's 25 7/8. So I know that's what that is. That's the first step. And now I've got a kind of in a little tight enclosed area right before going out the garage door. And this hallway's pretty tight right here. And so I'm gonna try to give you the skinny on this the best I can. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, 25 7/8. And I already talked to wifey about where she wanted it, and I can kind of see where the old location is, but I'm not going to use the exact location that they pulled out from before, because I don't know if it's level or if the hole's bigger than my plastic anchor that I want to put in it. Okay, my first thing is going to be, I can take my scratch awl, or you could take a felt tip pin and just push it in there and put a dab in there, okay? Okay, so that's exactly where I'm gonna go. For that particular plastic anchor. And now 25 7/8. And I could put a pencil mark and kind of eyeball it if I want, because I can erase it. 25 7/8. I can erase it. That one little mark there. Now that's not where it's exactly going to go, because now what am I going to do? I'm going to take my tape measure and measure all the way up to the ceiling, and then I'm going to measure down. That's 56 1/2, and then I'm going to come over here and measure all the way down, 56 1/2. And I'm going to use my, okay, I got 56 1/2. Double check it again. And sometimes if you're having a hard time holding your tape up there and holding it and trying to mark it, you can hold your tape and eyeball a certain little speck on the wall at your measurement. Take that off, put a little mark, double check your measurement. If it's slightly off, make a little another mark or something like that. So I got 56 1/2, and I had my pencil mark was off coming across this way, 1/2 inch, and so I can just connect that down, and that's exactly where my next hole is going to be. Because can you see that what I'm doing is I'm using the top of the wall as my level, because most places when they build out a house, their subfloor is flat, and generally all their top plates before they put the ceiling joists or trusses on, that is all going to be level, because that's based on the framing of your walls and stuff when the house is first built. Now mind you, if your house is 40, 50, 60 years old or older, maybe you can't use the top of your ceiling, because maybe if your floor has some dipsy doodles in it, or you put a marble on the floor and it rolls or something, chances are maybe your floor has settled and your ceiling might have settled a little bit, and now you can't use that as a level. You see what I'm saying? So I have a pretty good idea that the ceiling is level. Probably 98 out of 100 times if you do that, and then you put a level across here, you're going to be really super close. You may not be exactly perfect, but you're going to be really close. For, I mean, my word, we're putting this up. You know, we're not building a piano. If this is slightly off, is anybody ever going to say anything to you? I mean, obviously, if it's really far off, yeah. Okay. So that's what I do. I use that, and especially like if I'm hanging mirrors and they have already the little hooks on the back side of the mirror or something. I'll measure out the ceiling, figure out where I want it on the wall, and transfer that over, boom, boom, measure from the top down, and get myself a mark. And I do it that way, and usually it works. If you're hanging a picture over your bed, let's say it's a 3.5 foot long picture, and you got a hook over here and a hook over here, you don't have a wire or whatever that holds it. Well, you can't really use a 2 foot level, can you? And so I would do the same process there. Obviously, if you have a wire, I'd have to pull the wire up behind the picture, eyeball it, figure out where I want those, and do it slightly a different way. I'm not teaching you how to install a mirror or a picture that has one wire on the back side. Okay, I'm teaching you basically how to install something. It doesn't have to be a coat rack. It can be anything. It can be a shelf, or something else, whatever that you need to put plastic anchors in and stuff. And if you don't have a level, or if your level's not long enough, this is the technique you can use. Okay, so now that we've got our marks, I'm going to show you the next step. You probably already know how to do the rest of this, but I'm going to show you. It's not going to take me very long to put the plastic anchors in, and plus maybe there's a stud exactly where my plastic anchor is. If there is, I won't need a plastic anchor at all, will I? I can do it. I can use my sheetrock screw, and I can just screw that into the wood. But more times than not, you're gonna find out that you may not have an actual stud there. You could use a stud finder. I don't mess with that. I don't say, hey, let's put this where the studs are. Oh, we've got to move this. No, I can't. Hey, babe, I can't hang this here. I have to install it over here so that this hits the stud. Well, the next one over here is not going to hit the stud because it's not 16-inch centers or something like that to match wherever your wall is. And who knows if your wall is 16-inch centers on your studs, or there's something else in there that you don't know about, and all that. I just make my marks, and then I go from there. Okay? So the next step is I've determined that I'm going to use the plastic anchors. These little red plastic anchors that I found in my nail bag or my toolbox, and 2 sheetrock screws, and these are 1 5/8" coarse thread sheetrock screws. That's the next step.